Hi, buddy.
Hello.
How you doing?
I am. Wow, what a busy day. Yeah. Started a new job,
Yeah.
and craziest thing is that happened. Uh, just on Friday, I got the call for one that I applied for many months ago, and they called and made me an offer. So I kind of had to give news to the new job I started today. But the good thing is they were so understanding. They says, go do what you go do there. And on your days off, come in and be with us and contribute to that. And we'll be very happy. So I'm very blessed that I'll be able to have one place I can go and get to contribute my experience and training. And then also be able to go and contribute to another place that are some very nice people and contribute there. So I'm pretty blessed. This is the first time, I guess, in my life I've had not just one really amazing job, but then another one that I get to work with and still. So and then new mayor, pay raise coming from our stuff from the past from the fire department. So things will be looking up very soon. It's a blessing. I couldn't tell you how I felt any more blessed after what happened to me in October, almost checking out. God is good. So I'm blessed. I'm extremely blessed.
And we're blessed tonight because we have lots of fun friends with us.
I can just tell you.
I didn't tell. Yeah, Keith didn't know anything about it.
I really didn't.
I just did it.
A lot of it. Yeah, there was. I had a busy day, but I said, when I get home, there's something's going on with Kelly because she's being very secretive. And I said, that's okay, because it's always fun, right? And it's fun. So,
our tonight is all about scary stories, but not fictional scary stories, real scary experiences, most amazing and terrifying experiences. And we have a lot of wonderful dear friend guests who are on with us tonight, and some others that can pop in as well.
John Covey's here. Hello, happy John Covey. We always love John Covey.
Tommy Guinness too.
I can tell you that he's another fun one. We love to get to be on the show and tell him about his experiences and things. He may be able to check in tonight and say, hey, I had some. We've got so many people coming to the show tonight, between legends and other amazing future legends, that I can't even do the guess who's on the show. This is so many. Stacey
Lee, it'd be like a whole episode, wrestling episode for intro. So we're going to bring everybody in. And
here we go, folks. Look at all these people when you see them. Oh, more. Oh.
You have to warn me.
I'm not done. Wait for this. I'm not even done. And hi, Chris, everybody.
He popped in. Chris is in the house.
Yeah.
There's another fun guy. Chris, man.
Fun.
So much. I tell you, I probably have to grab a tissue, because I have to tell you, every one of the faces I look at here, and I think, wow, Tim, what a smart guy when it comes to what he does. Andy's about one of the kindest people between here and the stars. You got Greg, who's so knowledgeable about what he does. Frank is the chef of the group, an experience of many years in the paranormal. Just love the guy. You can't love him enough. And Chris Mendez, not only is a guy not hard to look at, but that he's a super nice guy, and he brings a lot to the table. So, folks, Wes Coleman. Does everybody know Wes Coleman? Let's just real quick. Okay.
Yes, that's what they wanted. The Brady theme song, but I'm not
Brady theme. So we could almost do it. That's why I was going to say that. So Wes said that this could be named the Brady. But I would probably have to be, if I was going to pick somebody, I'll say Marsha, because it's the fun thing. Why is it always Marsha? So I'm kind of, folks, just so you know, believe it or not, I'm going to be speechless, because I'm not sure what's going to happen with this. There's so
Somebody
many
people. That down. Somebody write it.
I said that. Yeah, Keith.
Please, for love.
There's so many people that I'm not sure what's going to transpire, but I know that there's so many fun people on here that there's got to be some amazing stories. And I've got to investigate with Frank, Greg. I think I've been some with Andy maybe so far. Tim, not yet. Angel and Rich, not yet. Flip. I've yet to be around, but I don't know that we've got to go investigate yet. And Chris, I mean, I'd rock that. I'd like to go and go somewhere because you see the places he goes, like, man, what a lucky guy. So without further ado, I'm going to let Kelly say what this is going to all entail here.
Well, tonight's all about, as I said, scary experiences, but those that are true. And I know that we have some first-time watchers tonight, specifically just due to the topic choice. So I kind of just gave everyone a heads up to try to ponder your most terrifying, scary, most dramatic experience, but to keep it truthful of something that you experience. And maybe, if you have evidence related to it, you can tell us about what you got. If not, it's fine too. Just tell us about the experience. But and if anyone has questions, you're welcome to post them in the chat. We got a group of amazing people here, so feel free to ask away. But one of the things that I wondered about from all of you, and I know I just love all of you, so I do. You sounded like you didn't believe it. I do.
I'll pay you later, Kelly.
Okay. If if there was one place, like, are there any places in particular that you won't go back to as a whole? That's just like a starter question.
There's a cemetery near me. I've had issues and it felt like something was trying to connect with me and I can't get in there. Any other cemetery, I have no problem. It's just that one cemetery near me.
I can't think of a place that I wouldn't go back to. We've been to some really amazing places where some nights I've had the tar scared out of me, but I would go back because this is why we're in the field. This is what I want to do. And I can't imagine. You're like saying, there's like something there that's trying to. Okay, yeah, I get that, and that's like different, but I have not experienced that. So,
I would agree with you as well, Frank. Especially with that. I mean, with that being said, I mean that's why we're doing this. This is why we actually proceed and do the investigations to actually learn from the unknown, especially if something as scary as it should be happens. I mean, that's sort of the main reason why we're doing this. So
exactly.
I can't think of a place to going back or actually not investigate for that matter.
Right.
Some of the private locations I've investigated, I wouldn't go back to just because they weren't vetted out properly, and they're pretty scary when you showed up, like some real hoarder type stuff.
I got a few of those.
Oh. Yeah. Angel and Rich. Wow.
Well, I was just going to say, in some cases, when we after we go through the whole vetting process, and then we would actually go to do a face-to-face with the potential client. Wow, sometimes that was the most frightening part of the whole thing.
There are those places I won't go back to.
Yeah. Agreed.
Right, Kelly?
Right. I can't believe I went there in the first place.
Yeah, I think for me, actually, the scarier, the quicker I want to get back. So,
yeah. Greg, have you had a place? I mean, you've been in between and far and wide, and
just as was said before, if you do a private case, sometimes you can run into some strange people that you just don't want to go back to. But right. any locations, no. I mean, you can have some experiences, but it just makes you want to go more.
Wow.
Yep. A lot of things I've been seeing online lately too, and I think I don't know, I have my own metaphysical explanations why this is happening, but there's been a lot more seemingly interaction with like elemental beings and nature spirits and things like that. Do any of you have any really intimidating or scary interactions with any of those type of creatures?
Not scary or intimidating, but I live like 15 minutes from a place called Columcille, which is known for elemental spirits and fairies and fae and whatnot. And we've had some weird things happen in the woods behind the house. Just the other night we went outside and there was this grunting. It wasn't a deer grunt. Pretty sure it wasn't a bear, but there's just this weird thing. So, yeah.
Bigfoot.
I wish. I don't think things are big enough for Bigfoot behind my house, but
We finally found the
it's on Bigfoot.
Frank. You found the Jersey Devil.
The Jersey Devil. The reign of terror when actually Jersey Devil was found in our area.
Right?
There he is. Stacy says that sounds squatchy.
Sounds a little squatchy.
I think one time we were doing a case, and the scary part was I worked for a HVAC contractor sales, and you got some tough guys in there that won't run from anything and this and that. And we were actually we were on a cul-de-sac, but behind the cul-de-sac there's about an acre of woods, and then one of the contractors I had as a client was that's where his property was. And she was having things, we were trying to figure out what it was, this and that. And he actually came in one day and pulled me to the side. And to hear somebody that you look at that probably could wrestle a bear and not think twice about it, to look on his face and say that, and he didn't have any idea that we were even right behind his house, that he's seen these. I mean, I don't know. He explained them as goblin-like or something like that he saw. And just I think that was more scarier to hear him and see the fear in him than it was maybe seeing him himself,
Wow.
But yeah, that was kind of crazy because he wouldn't be the type. I mean, he picked on me all the time about, ghost hunters and chasers.
Wow, this round rude. So I don't know if anybody just happened to see down on the chat. So speaking of people that are on, and creepy things and stuff that happens, we have Christopher Allen Brewer, who gets to be on the shows and does the kind of commentary for as he sees the way, a show, what they're experiencing. And have we had him on the show before once?
Yeah.
Sharp.
Excuse me.
I mean, I'm sure you don't get to do what
I
his
took
job
my
is
screen from that.
on the network anyway. But what a sweetheart of a guy. Such a and very intelligent. So many different things that he's got to experience and be, and wow, just super fun stuff. But yeah. So of the bunch, Tim, would you be considered, and I'm asking kind of everybody, the one who has the most kind of in touch with UFOs, extraterrestrial kind of things, if you will? Is that more your whole?
I'm a little of both. I've been doing paranormal for, I don't even know, 15 plus years, give or take. And then, helping my father out with the UFO stuff and getting my feet, deep into that. So it's just, I'm going both ends. Bigfoot, I'd rather, wear a pork chop around my neck and, go wander the woods and see if actually something comes up.
Well,
you can also hire him, everyone, to do that for a party.
Out of here.
Hey.
Might get more than Bigfoot.
So it's my understanding that heavy alien areas are also associated with Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's like so many different theories about that.
The theories can just go on and on and on. The same thing, there's maybe a correlation with UFOs and paranormal. When sightings happen, UFO or paranormal spikes up in certain areas.
Fair.
So there's a lot of different scenarios, and it's just until we figure out, maybe catch a Bigfoot, we maybe know, if it's actually alien or not, that or they just actually have the power. Don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Well, I asked about elementals, not to jump back, but that was my scariest experience because
wow.
I started seeing as a kid, I would see pets that pass, and I have people that pass, and then I have people I didn't know that pass, and then people anywhere that pass, and then it just kind of like grew, and till you get to these other worldly beings, which I see now also. But as that was just kind of coming out, I was maybe my late 20s, and I had gone to this hunting camp, not to hunt, Keith, sorry, but more for like party weekend, And so in the basement, it was concrete all over the basement, and there were beds down there. And because as a hunting camp, of course, it would be people that would go there, and all of their frustration and drinking and all of the things came to a head at this place. So I was down in the basement and woken up out of a dead sleep at 2:30 in the morning with this girl in a white nightgown and black hair over her face floating above the floor in the corner of the room.
Wow.
What'd you say, Tim?
Sounds like the ring.
That's what someone else said to me because I hadn't seen it, because I don't watch scary movies. So I hadn't seen it. However, she floated a little bit closer, and I do like kind of a little protection thing. And then she floated a little closer again, and then I did it again, and she was gone because I had to sleep down there the next night too. So I didn't want to like encounter her twice. But now that beings have like really escalated and look a lot different and not as human and things like that. But she was the most terrifying thing that I had ever seen to that point, just because I knew what it was, and because it's a completely different variety than a human spirit. So that was my that was my elemental creepiest story. We're gonna bring Jeff on too.
Jeff, our buddy, our techie, our guy. Look. How can you not love Jeff?
Hi, guys.
Welcome.
Here, because I'm blind now. So.
Oh. No, it wasn't. Well, I mean, unless it's the thing behind him on camera there, it may be that stupid, ugly doll you have back there.
Uh-oh.
I got a camera back here.
So somebody else tell me some, like, share your scariest, please. Just pick one. Some of them I have a guess. Andy's I have a guess what he's gonna say.
I'm not sure about Chris's. Chris is young. He's probably fearless, but we'll give Jeff a second to think. He just joined us. Chris has been here, so you're young and pretty fearless kind of dude. What was something that, or if you did, that's something that was like, man, forget that. No way. Deuces. I'll check back with you. Not.
So, I mean, I think I covered this last time when we were on the show, when I was on the show with you guys, but I think the craziest one, I think Kelly was there for when we were up at Moundsville. What's that? West Virginia State Penitentiary. And we were walking, for whatever reason, we're walking into the cafeteria area, and we it was a group of us. We ended up getting split. Myself, Melissa Keller, I forget who else. I think it was I forget who else was there with us. We start hearing like these whispers coming from, it was the infirmary area. So for those of you guys that have been there, the infirmary area is actually like downstairs, and it's like off to the left as you're going to the cafeteria area. Melissa and I ended up getting split. We start following the voices. We get up to a little dip on the floor, and now we're standing in front of like a cell door. It literally was just dead quiet. We stopped hearing the whispers. We didn't hear anything else. I would say like maybe within a second of just everything stopping, I hear a whisper like my right ear, just saying "hey," like a very whispery "hey," followed by this massive like metal clashing door sound. that was like a fight or flight. And at that point, I chose the flight. I was going. I pushed Melissa out of the way.
All like
Yeah, I ran out. As soon as I get back to the main entrance, I realized I'm like, oh man, I left her behind. So I had to walk back, did a walk of shame, and actually bring her back with me.
Walk of shame.
But that was the worst one. I mean, there's been a couple others, but nothing as bad as that. But that night was pretty active there. That's when Kelly and I actually ended up seeing what appeared to be like a guard walking out of a guard shack with a flashlight in his hand, and then doing an about face and walking back into the guard shack. I think he still had a video of that.
Thought it was a person.
Yeah, it was the coolest thing I think I've seen. But definitely, that was definitely one of the scariest moments.
Wow.
And he's never heard the end of it either. Because he took off.
Nah. Nope. I hear about it everywhere I go. But I'll own up to it. I mean, I did do it. I ran. I mean, there's no denying that. There are plenty of cameras there to capture different angles of me running.
Deuces.
It was like a
There goes these numbers, you know, it ain't like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
it was like a Scooby-Doo episode.
Well,
running
Jeff,
like that.
Jeff is I've had the pleasure of getting to hang out and go some places with Jeff and some stuff in the past, and he's obviously a stand-up guy, and I can't really fathom too much of him bolting and running, but is there a time between any of the places that
no, but that's for Keith. That's for a little bit.
What's that?
I peed a little bit.
I mean, it happens. Yeah, but was it just something that was like, I'm out of here, forget it?
Oh no. This was this was a bad one. I'll tell you this one. That was bad for me at the time because I had just basically started working for GA, and we got the return to Goldfield, and it was really bad because you must have saw that episode where me and him had that. We were 5 miles apart, and he had the dream, and I had a daydream that was really bad about people dying in our lives. And but the day that I was setting up, I had to run cables on all 4 floors, and I was running cables up to the 3rd floor. 3rd floor is a bad floor, from what I was told at the time. And so I get all the way up the stairs. And when you get up the stairs, the hallway goes like this, both ways. And there's a wall right in front of you. So I'm leaning up against the wall. Fuck. You know, taking a breath. And we had darkened out the windows 2 weeks prior. So there was no light coming into this hotel at all. And so I'm leaning up against the wall, just taking a breath and leaning over. And then I just happened to look to my right, and the first room on the left-hand side down the way, I just looked, and all of a sudden this thing like came right out of the room and looked at me. Just a dark mass. Had no facial features, but you could tell it was doing this. And I don't think I really ran down the stairs as much as I slid my ass with my feet down the first set of stairs, came around, and then went down to the second, and then went to the first, and everybody's looking at me like I said, fuck the 3rd floor. But he's going up there with me, fuck that floor. And James, he's the other gear guy for the big camera guys. He was up there with me, and he saw something dart past him. And he's like, oh, fuck this. He goes, so we had the biggest lights in the whole world when we were up there running cable. That scared the shit out of me. Really, really bad. And then when we were investigating that night, my worst fear out of everything that has ever happened is being ran up on from behind and nothing's there. Literally, and it happened. It's like whatever was at this place knew it. And it ran up on me so fast. I think honestly, I did pee a little bit. It wasn't a good, I was like this. Just if you're going to grab me, suck me into a portal, just fucking do it. You know? But that was a bad experience, that place, and I will never ever ever forget it. But there's quite a few after that, and wow. But those are definitely other experiences, like having an attachment and bringing it home,
Right.
and then Billy come to your house to get rid of it. That's not good.
Yeah. Well, that's what Andy and I were talking about too earlier today, because there's that scary, terrifying, like visual experience or tangible experience. And then there's that scary, terrifying, like, oh my gosh, I'm scared for someone else and I don't know how to help them.
Well, when we were in LA, we were investigating the castle that was turned into a hospice, with like a mansion with the two lions. I can't remember what it was called. There's been so many. But that's when I was on the thermal and I got affected. Go outside. Apparently, when we were talking to these spirits or entities that were in this place, they hadn't had that much communication, and we had started talking to, and whatever was following me down the stairs and got a hold of me attached to me, and found out it was an older woman, and I thought it was gone. I literally thought it was gone till I got home, and everything just changed. My whole attitude on this whole place sucked. I didn't want to do anything. I was hiding in my room in the dark. I wasn't accepting phone calls from anybody. Even Billy and them, they were wondering what the fuck was going on. And then they finally got a hold of me, and I told them what was going on, and they were down here in about 7 hours. And I had to cleanse my whole place because I woke up in the morning, cabinet doors were open, scratching on the wall. It got really, really bad. And I've never had or experienced anything like that. I never want that ever again. Apparently this woman has never had that, or the spirit has never affected anybody like that. She must have liked it, and she attached herself to me because she liked the ride and didn't want to leave. But Billy and them, that was definitely the second baddest one.
Yeah.
That like a 5-hour series.
Wow.
Rich and Angel, how about you guys? Because I know I was there with you for several, but really the most terrifying in that respect was a human. So
the running is you're standing
Absolutely.
past you and you're like, what's going on? There's no coming type scenario. Thank you for that. Before you ran.
I think the one that comes to mind, Frank, you remember Iron Island.
I was just thinking that, Rich. Get out of my head.
All right, you go ahead and start, and I'll add the end.
What?
You're supposed to start, and he's going to bring up the end.
You started because it started with you.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll start the story. We're at Iron Island. We're filming with Ghost Detectives, and there's one area in the basement that is just kind of really wonky, kind of, it's just bad juju. So I go over and I'm walking around, and like Jeff was just saying, that something running up on you, you get that sense, and I turn around, but I see it, and it's like this giant beast just lumbering at me. Boom, hits me in the chest, goes right through. I'm fucking fried at this point. I'm sorry. Fuck. Can I say fuck?
You can say whatever you want.
Well, that's fucking great. So, and I know in my head, I got to get outside. I got to ground. I'll be okay. And the cameraman says, well, if it was running that way, shouldn't you be going that way? Fuck. I go back into this creepy corner of the basement.
Well, nobody told you. It was like they ran that way. You're trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. And
right. So finally, I'm like, all
We're
right, guys,
all there.
I'm out. I'm done. Right. Angel helped me up the steps, and she's like trying to be so uncharacteristic. She's just trying to be like this, so sweet and nice and whatnot.
Hey.
No reaction on that. So, I'm like, I'm okay. Once I got out of the basement, I could like think clearly again. but there's that moment where it's like, holy shit, what just happened? Wow, everything is moving very weirdly, you know, and then you start to get that cold from the inside out. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's like wild shit. So that's the lead into Rich's story.
So Frank decides he needs to take a break. So he goes upstairs, and I look over, and going towards that corner that he's talking about, there was an old oil tank. And walking down past it is what I could best describe an ogre. That's the only thing I can even picture. And it's moving purposely over to that corner and disappears. Just gone.
I'm sorry, I had to interject on that real quick.
No,
Just
thank
went
you. Hey, it's time for a break.
20 and 8.
He's teasing. Oh.
Continue.
Oh no, he was waiting for you to interject.
Oh, I did. Well, I was just letting you know that I went from 720 to 1080p, so I'm all full screen now.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Good deal.
Okay.
He's excited.
Thank you very much.
See, I think you were probably bait
That
in
and,
that instance, Frank.
What's that?
You were probably bait in that instance.
Yes.
You know, I was bait many times with freaking ghost detectives. You know, it's like the time they locked me in a body
Absolutely.
shoot for an hour.
That's a fun time. Come on now.
Oh man.
That was Bob and Rich.
I'm sorry, Senator, I have no recollection.
Yeah.
I got your back, Frank.
I
Hour
appreciate
later,
it.
but
Right.
Freaking out. And I'm in there and I'm doing like a live stream on Facebook, right? And people are saying, "Oh my God, do you hear the growling?" No, I'm not hearing the growling, but they're hearing it on Facebook Live.
Wow.
Oh, God, can you hear the scratching? No, we're worried about freaking spiders then. Yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
If anybody has Bob or
Frank,
Rich's number, call
Bob
them.
Rich, yeah.
Jeez.
He's still angry about that.
yeah, Bob. I said we're missing Bob in this right now because that's one of the scariest events I had is with Bob and Gina.
He had another
Bob is scary.
event here tonight. Yeah.
Oh God, I had something that same thing happened. What you guys are saying, what Jeff was talking about, is at that place where anyway we investigated, and Gina's in the hallway, and I'm walking down to her. It's pitch dark. You can't see your hand in front of your face. Now, being a firefighter, I'm used to that, but this was dark. It was like I was stomach. So same thing happened. They're in front of me, and I know no one's behind me, and then all of a sudden I hear like, "Hey," in my right ear, and I very rarely you ever get those. And I'm talking about turning around and going, "Don't ever do that again." I looked to see if somebody was there, and they weren't. But it was, and they say that spirit that's in that hallway likes to pick at people, likes to mess with people. And it's the real tall one that's in that hallway that apparently everybody knows about.
It was me. It was me.
Shoot.
It was the tall one.
Is he? At least if it was you, Kelly, we could have fun and have drinks and cookies and chips and hang out. But no, it was scary.
Well, I think I may have a guess, but Flip, what's your scariest story?
I had a hard time coming up with one because I mean these things, excite me when I'm out there. I mean that's what I'm out there to do is have these experiences. But the one that came to mind was, as cliche as it sounds, was Bobby Mackey's. I did 2 nights in a row there, and on the second night we're up in Carl's apartment. I think somebody was doing a ghost box session, so I'm just sitting there in the dark. There's a little ambient light coming through the bathroom window. And all of a sudden, you start seeing shadow figures like walking through. You see the arms swinging. I mean, it was like one after another, maybe a total of like 4 or 5 of them. And then all of a sudden, I'd feel on my left hand, it's like sticky. And I turned the flashlight on, and something had sliced me right across these fingers, like in the middle of the room. But that's not the scariest part. After that session was done, we all went back downstairs. And I don't know, for those of you that have been to Bobby Mackey's, when you go to the men's room, there's a door that opens, and then there's a hallway that veers off, into the men's room. And I opened the door, and the first door closed behind me, and I'm walking through that hallway, and there was a voice mixed with a growl, and that unnerved me. And so much that, I finally made it into the men's room part. And here I am, holding myself in one hand, which is no easy feat, but holding my flashlight in the other hand and looking around while I was in that bathroom. So if anything scared me, it might have been that.
Wow.
Might have been.
Did you pee a little?
But speaking of bathrooms, I did walk in on Greg O'Brien at Fort Mifflin once, and
I did.
yeah, they should hang a bell around his neck.
Oh my god.
Oh, the Fort Mifflin stories. God, me and Kelly had some out there ourselves with investigating there. But I had the fortune of getting to investigate with Kelly and Greg. We got asked to come out there, and he said that in this one room that there's a general or there's a guy that's here, and he's very authoritative. And so we were doing the voice. We doing the trying to get EVPs, taking some pictures, doing multiple things. And I took a picture, and I even ended up sending it back to Greg. And I'm like, tell me, just see what you see, and then get back with me and let me know. And he says, yes, Keith, I can see what you're seeing. I can see something and it's right here. And I says, that's where I'm seeing it. And then like, what do you think it is? And he goes, well, this is what it looks like. And I had the before and after and everything else. And it was a menacing looking type, darker than dark in that room, looking humanoid looking body shaped figure, but there was no one else alive in that corner. So it wasn't anyone else that was there with us in that corner. And even Kelly, now what was so cool about it, Kelly even picked up on and said, there's something I'm getting, like there's just something's not right kind of over there. In or about the same time we got those other bits of stuff. And so that's what made it really cool. That was like, wow. When all
I'm glad he remembers it that way. I think my words were, Greg, who's the dude without a head in the corner? I think what I said, and then Greg could tell me, but I'm glad that Keith remembered it so far. That makes it sound nicer that way. So
it was creepy.
Yeah, case made 5.
Yeah. So, Greg, your scariest story, did it take place at the fort or was it somewhere else?
Well, I'll talk about the fort. I used to Powder Magazine. I was very uncomfortable way back, and I could not go in there at night by myself. Yeah, Powder Magazine, there's no light when you go in there, and you can't see the hand in front of your face. And I just was creeped out all the time. I just had an uneasy feeling. I would try to go in, and then something would always block me. So one night, I'm completely by myself. I said, I gotta get over this fear. So I fought through the energy that was pushing me out, and I went all the way to the back wall. I sat down, facing the front, and I had my recorder, and I just sat there. And all of a sudden, you can hear like a metal being banged on the wall, coming towards me, getting louder and louder. And it got right up to me, and I can't see anything. And I just sat there for a while, and then I said, I got to get out of here. And then when I got out and I played the recorder back, you could hear somebody yelling, get out, get out. And then right at the last get out was like it was right on top of me, just yelling, get out. So after that, though, I overcame my fear of going in there. But yeah, that was, I would say that was my, I just was so uncomfortable in there all the time. So, but
Could
now
that have been
I
the
have no problem.
general?
No. You're talking. It would be the judge that was.
The judge.
I mean,
Oh, I'm sorry. Wes is
yeah,
right. The judge.
yeah. I mean, it could have been. I mean, him and I have this love-hate relationship. So, but it was the metal. So I don't know. Like it sounded like like a pipe or a sword just hit. I mean, the metal, you could hear it as it was coming towards you. I mean, it was that loud. So
I've actually
yeah.
I've actually captured I left a camera recording there over probably an hour or so when you turn the lights off, the entire powder magazine room will start getting foggy. And as it
Yes.
starts getting foggy, you'll start seeing like different apparitions actually appear in the fog, which is
Oh
pretty
yeah, I've
interesting.
had one time going in there and the fog was so thick, and so I'm like, okay, powder magazine. You couldn't see in front of you. The fog was so thick. I went to all the other casemates. I went into the armory. I went in the bake oven. Casemate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No one out. None of the others casemates. Nothing had any fog in them. It was just a powder magazine. So yeah, that's a weird spot. But I overcame my fear with that place.
I have a lot of friends that just kind of eased their way into the paranormal by visiting the fort and had such profound experiences on their own that was a real turning point for them. So
Yeah. I always tell people too, come during the day, pay the $8 to get in and spend the day. Like a lot of time during the week, Wednesdays through Fridays, if there's no school groups there, it's, there could be 1 or 2 people there and you go in and we get people come in. Some people got memberships and they come during the day and then they just go out there and yeah, it's amazing, what they can get.
The fort is a cool place. And it's just like one quick story. There was an event there and I was with Aaron Sagers and we're doing a live podcast. And because then reception there was horrible.
Still is.
So we were like kind of relaying through a friend in New York. And every time John Zathis would come over to the table, all you could hear through the phones was growling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's wild. But another quick thing I want to say about the fort and most other places, it's funny how we could all go there. And what's a hot spot for you? It's like I've been there. I can't even tell you how many times I've been to Fort Mifflin. I have never gotten anything in the powder place gun.
Right.
Yeah. I can't remember the name.
Right.
The Sally Port.
Maybe you weren't in the right spot.
No, I was there. I know exactly what he's talking about. It's the place. It's a big hill. You go inside.
The place with the gunpowder.
Yeah, the gunpowder thingy. Yeah. Medulla. Anyway, but the Sally Port for me has always been a real hot spot.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like interesting how the powder place was for you your hot spot.
Right.
For me, I got nothing.
Now you brought up John Zaffis. He was the first to investigate Casemate 11 when that was discovered. That wasn't the Ghost Hunters, their episode. They weren't the first ones to go down there. So I always like to give Johnny Zaffis that credit. He went down there the first time.
Oh yeah, he's told me.
Andy, did you decide which one?
Who, me?
Yeah, did you decide? You said you were between a few.
Yeah, I would say that probably one time I was at St. Albans and we were doing an event to raise some money for them. So I had people with me going around that I believe it was only one person probably out of the entire group of 10 outside of myself that knew when to probably watch for anything, stuff like that. So we actually went down into the boiler room and down there, what they say is down there, the gentleman or the entity likes to mess with women, like pull hair, stuff like that. And I was trying to do an EVP session. We were trying anything to get, nothing's really happening. So my friend Sarah was with me. So I said, well, maybe if she tries, since, it'll get something going. Well, she starts with it. Somebody was running the EVP, but then somebody had an Ovilus running that. And it was saying like, get out, don't like you, stuff. I mean, just weird stuff. And so we go to leave. And I mean, we were getting a little bit of tap, stuff like that. And I let everybody else out of the room to walk out to go towards the bowling alley. And literally something pushed me so hard that it kind of flipped my hoodie even up over top of my head, whole 9 yards. I flipped out. I don't know what I thought I was going to do, but I turned around like in defense mode, like, you don't fucking touch me, and stuff like that. And but the thing was, looking at everybody else's face around me, or the other two, to know that I was very validated, you know what I'm saying, at that point that happened. But then it was not as, that was scary enough, but it was the feeling for the next probably half hour, 45 minutes of just like when you guys were saying, the cold feeling like from the inside out and stuff like that. Having an attitude, with me, that was abnormal. So I've had a couple things happen in St. Albans like that. But that one was really one that shook me to the core for a couple days. Like it just kind of stuck. I don't want to say I took anything out of there with me, but definitely.
Was that the time that Flip and I were there with you? Or was that a different time? Because do you remember when we were in the alcohol ward for the first time and he's getting upset with you and I because we were just like, do you see that? Do you see that?
Yeah,
do you see that? He's like, just be quiet, Kelly. Well, I can't be quiet. We all know this. So, but do you see it? Do you see that over there? And I'm like, yeah. And I said to Andy, I'm like, Andy, you have to see what I see right now. He goes, I do. And they were like right in front of your face, like literally people right in front of circulating all through the room. And then like in the crevices, and Flip's just like, if you just be quiet, maybe we can play music. Like, I can't concentrate on music right now. There's too many things I'm seeing. But it was amazing. And I remember that particular time because then the next time that we went back, we saw it again.
Yeah.
We saw them again. It was a regular occurrence.
Yeah. Every time I've been in the alcohol room, I've always seen, like, I guess it's windows in those rooms that set across, like if you're up against the wall where you first walk in, there's a couple of tears, I guess, and whatever they've put over the windows, and you can watch them black out as things go past, and then kind of go back, and then they kind of come out like they keep creeping more out of, and then they're right there on you. And yeah, that's definitely a different place. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you don't hear like a bunch of bad stuff. I mean, more like maybe tricksters and stuff like that, but that thing pushing me. Yeah. And in the alcohol room, we had a situation in there with actually one of the gals on my team a couple months after that. And it got to a point we actually had to release her off of the team because she wanted to continue to go back. Like she was literally crying and wanting to go back every weekend because she felt that she had to go back and save whatever was calling her back. And, that's what we're talking about, that not everything's scary that happens inside the place. It's sometimes what you see, the effective things and stuff like that makes it real, that we are definitely dealing with stuff that if we're not careful, I mean, it can be a long-term effect, take it home with you.
What is that noise?
What is noise?
The Amazon truck backing up.
No, that sounded like a growl and a
there was a growl.
Harley wants to play.
Oh, it's Harley. Oh, okay.
Growl.
Yeah. Harley wants to play
in here.
Jeff, we need your debunked stamp.
It isn't me because I know I can't get myself. So.
I kept hearing something, and Jeff's there, and I'm thinking, well, maybe he's playing a tape of something that he investigated. But he said,
I was sitting.
See, everybody here at Melissa was just going to ask about that too.
Doing my nails and getting all the Sharpies off, and then all of a sudden I heard a growl and a grunt, and I was like, "We got chicken on here."
Tim, what about you?
Look, Frank.
Oh, sorry.
his hand up.
Sorry, Frank. Yeah.
Kelly,
Frank,
Frank has to go to the bathroom.
two things. One,
Okay.
I put my hat on so I could be cool like Jeff.
Okay. You
Oh,
you're lead.
I
that
want to
is
hear.
cool.
I want to hear Angel's scariest story.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Angel, you're up. Then Tim, I want to hear yours because I don't think I've ever heard your scary story.
I don't think so.
Mine would have to be Scott's Resort in New York, well, Upper Pennsylvania, New York. Ghost Detectives, we were filming. And the last thing I remember is sitting outside a room, Bella and Gina walking in, and me going, something came out of the room at me. And you have to understand, Bella always helps me with protection and that stuff. And I kept getting fuzzies over my eyes, and she says, well, let them go. So I let everything go. I had no protection. And something hit me. And the next thing I remember is sitting outside with Frank and Rich around me and having no idea how I got there. So that was, and thank goodness Frank worked on me and pulled whatever was inside of me out.
Wow.
But it wasn't scary when it was happening because I didn't know it was happening. It was afterwards watching it.
It was super
That's
fucking
when it was
scary.
Frank said it was that.
You look,
Yes.
you look in her eyes, and it was
So
no
was it the
longer
Jeff
her.
thing? It was that much?
Nobody bought a ticket for this ride.
Right? Not at all.
That's
I charged for that shit.
Yeah.
No way.
Sounds like it was a.
You
Sounds
can
like it was a
ride
roller
me, but
coaster.
it ain't cheap.
Tim, what about you?
I have a couple of, but this really burns in my memory. There's a location out near Albany. It's called Shaker Village. So if you don't know anything about the Shakers, they've been around from 1800s or earlier than that or so. So, anyways, there's a location that near me has a barn, has the meeting house, a couple other places, and the main house where the leaders would be in. And I believe it's only men in that one, maybe a woman or two or anything. But anyways, me and the psychic at the time, we walked into this into that building where only the head honchos would actually be in. And we just set up, some equipment. We had the obelisk, we had a recorder, and I'm standing on the stairs looking down the hallway. As I'm looking down the hallway, it's getting darker and darker. So it's probably 10 o'clock, so it's completely dark. The street lights were gone. You couldn't see really anything. And we're just asking, normal questions. But as I'm looking down the hallway, I was feeling weak, like I was going to fall. It felt like something was just taking over me because I was learning that I was actually have abilities. So things were, picking up on me, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. So I just kind of kept pushing to understand what was happening. But as I'm looking down the hallway, it was getting darker and darker and darker and darker. And I'm going, talking to the psychic, I'm like, are you feeling anything? He goes, yeah, a little bit here. I'm like, you don't feel anything down the hallway that you need to walk down to? No. I'm going, okay, but I'm looking down the hallway and I'm seeing the room was pitch black. That if you walk down there, that you can't see nothing. He goes, you kidding me? And he can't walk by me because I'm blocking the stairs. As I'm keep looking down the hallway, I'm seeing this movement just out of the doorway, just slowly moving. And I'm going, I don't like this, but this is interesting, but it's black. They're not down there. We're the only two in there. And I'm sitting there watching down the hallway. And I felt weaker, and I felt like I was going to faint and fall. Mm-hmm. So me, my dumbass, start banging my head against the wall because I'm like, I'm not moving. I'm not going to fall on my ass. But I want to keep looking at this thing. So as I'm looking down the hallway, I'm seeing this circle slowly, probably about 10, 15 minutes, actually has horns were coming out. And I'm going, oh, my head, this really hurts because I'm really banging my head hard. And he's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I don't know. This figure, I wish you can jump in front of me and look what I'm looking at. I couldn't move off the stairs. He goes, well, do you want to go? And the obelisk that was sitting on the thing, he goes, no. And I'm going, that answering me, or is that just shooting out something? And I get to the point of like, my head's really hurting. I'm getting to the point of having a headache. And I'm sitting there going, all right, I think I'm going to go. I'm done. My head hurts. And next thing you just see, bloop, gone. Like, and I'm saying, okay, you're not moving. You're staying right here. We'll be back in about an hour. Like, you stay here, kind of thing.
Wow.
And I was like, all right, goodbye. And the obelisk said, all right, see you later. And we both looked at each other and went, all right, we'll come back in about an hour. We never came back because we were like, we'll come back the next time, but this is a little interesting. But nothing was actually recorded. No sound, no nothing. All you hear is me, him talking, and you hear thump, thump, thump because I'm banging my head.
Wow.
But I'm seeing this down the hallway, and it's burned in my memory.
Wow.
Now, for everybody who actively investigates, and you experience those moments of pitch black darkness that somehow gets even darker. There are some people that I know that are watching for the first time tonight, and can you give them some things to keep in mind from your experiences about telling apart the possibility of seeing something versus like your eyes playing tricks on you in those types of environments? Are there any like tips that you can give them?
To me, I would say run at it. If you have the scared straight, this is what my job is. Like, that's how I learned. Go for it. Run at it. But this was just like, I couldn't get up the stairs and go down the hallway. My body was like, okay, your head hurts. You got to go. But you got to be patient. You got to learn your ins and outs. If you have that, go down the stairs, go down the hallway, go take a look, debunk what you can.
I would say also understanding like the understanding the room layout prior to the investigation, actually seeing the layout.
Yes.
Notating where like the doors, where the lights are actually coming in from, what type of different devices could be in the room that could actually emit small amounts of lights that could possibly play with your eyes and play with your mind as you're actually trying to investigate. So just the knowledge, the pre-investigation knowledge of that room, of that investigation, and of that place that you're in can also come in handy to actually debunk some of the stuff that you're actually seeing.
Yeah, and I think you need to learn to also trust your other instincts as well. Our bodies, well, at least for me, you get that, fight or flight or fright or flight, you know what I'm saying, type of feeling. But I mean, like, sometimes you got to kind of just stand there and watch things and let your eyes adjust. But also, if you're feeling temperature changes or the hair standing up on your arms or something like that, you may want to, that's the decision you have to make then, whether or not you feel comfortable enough to continue to stay there or step out for a second and, take a breath and then go from there.
Breath, yes.
He said a big breath.
Yes.
Well, there was one time, Flip, remember that haunted attraction that we went to? What was it? Was Steve Dills was going to join us tonight, but he couldn't not now. So, but he would know. Remember that escape room? It was the escape room.
The escape room, yeah.
And so the one room that we were in, we did this public investigation there. And so, of course, like, Flip's really tall and I'm not. That's putting it lightly, I guess. But anyhow, so I'm like standing next to him, and it's completely dark in the room. And it was a vampire themed Richmond vampire theme room. So there was like one big vampire and other things. And for me, that was an instance with the darkness that if you do notice things or you do see things, like I don't know how many times I was like, stop. I was like, are you touching me right now? He's like, no, I'm not even. And I said, well, you're right in my face. Like it's right here in my, why are you in my face? And he's like, it's not me. It's not me. But eventually you could start to see shapes of those things coming out of the darkness, even though it was already dark there. So I think for people who ask about that, because I know a lot of people that just say, it's just your eyes playing tricks on you. It's just your eyes playing tricks on you. But I think that can be a gateway to actually embracing your sensitivities, embracing your, learning about different types of beings, because, your other senses are heightened. So like Andy said, you can experience other things at the same time. And then we started to hear more voices and we started to get more interaction on our equipment. So for me, that was in the darkness, a really valid time, because all the things seemed to time together somehow. But,
well, on public events, I'll tell people, don't go in looking for something to happen. Go in and let it happen. Because when you're looking for it, you're going to create things with your mind. You're going to see, a little ambient light or something. You're going to process it. You're going to make more of it.
Yep.
Just go in and let it come to you.
Yep. Could be watching paint dry one night. You just don't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Frank, do you remember that time that we were at Boob's Brewery and Kelly kept going around the room?
With everybody in all these breweries and bars.
Well, that was scary for me because Kelly was like just walking around the room and couldn't stop.
Well, Kelly's scary to begin with.
I'm naturally intimidating. It's my size.
But I mean, for me, when you have somebody that you're friends with or somebody that you're close with, and they're literally, she was saying, I can't stop. I can't stop, on the verge of almost in tears. I can't stop.
Yeah.
And don't know what to do. That is just as scary as well,
That was a one-time experience for me. I haven't had that experience before.
Well, yeah, all the times I've been with you, I've never seen you not be able to control what was going on. And that's what was really getting to me, was what do you do? She wanted us to stop her, then she said no. And then Frank finally, the Godfather there calmed her down and talked her off the ledge. And you know what I'm saying? We were good.
Listen, I got to admit, I was a little freaked out. I know Kelly was like,
that's what I'm saying.
So not Kelly behavior.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, I do remember that. But the piece that I remember about that, I do remember that whole experience for the most part. But the spirit kept taking me back through the same path. And while also telling me that there were other people in other areas of the building that also needed acknowledged, and just kept walking me in the same path, because she had more and more and more and more and more to say. And it was a routine for her, but it was also like, I have to spew all this stuff out while someone's here to listen. And it just kept going on and on and on. But the piece that I remember about that was the day afterward, because once we all came out of that area, we were all fine. But somehow an hour and a half of time had gone by.
Yeah.
And I messaged all of you guys and I was like, how long were we down there? Because I swear we were only down there 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Right.
And
the loss of time. Yeah.
Right. So that to me was like an experience too, to have that loss of time sensation. That's not incredibly common.
Seen it
for me anyhow.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
Guys come running out of a building going, man, said, how come it's so freaking late? You were in there for 2 hours just on a preliminary. And he goes, no, we were only in there for 30 minutes. No, you weren't. We were all sitting down here waiting, eating our dinner. Yeah. Seen that. It's loss of time is definitely in there.
Yeah. Do you guys see Andrew's question? Does anybody want to weigh in on that?
I think Frankie should answer that question.
I have my own opinions on this, Andrew, but I don't know that you want to hear them. Bella and I are on the same page with this, so she can vouch. And Angel, I think you and I are on the same page with this too.
I just know at Ford a lot of times, people that don't, when we do our candlelight tours, you'll have people just all of a sudden start crying and just get the emotional. So I think they're just picking up a lot of, they picking that up. They just completely lose it with overcome with grief and so
I think
you know
people that are sensitive, like you're saying,
yeah
Greg, really,
yeah
that. And I know, like I said, Angel and Bella and I are kind of on the same page about it, but I don't believe, this is my own belief, I don't tell anyone else what to believe, but I don't believe that anybody is stuck anywhere. From a lifetime of reading for spirit, they have infinite knowledge that we don't have. There is nothing that we need to help them with. They know their options. They may like a particular location and just stay there,
right
hang out there, be there while people are there, want to explain to people or equipment what they did on their daily life. But I think that the basis of any reading or investigation is the spirit coming and going. So I don't believe any of them are stuck there. With that said, I do agree with Greg. I think that if you're going into a place, you can easily have that tangible emotion. You can have that where you're just feeling overwhelmed or overcome. And I think that's a very real ability, but I think it's a really real thing as well, that you can pick up on that. But I don't believe.
I agree 100%, Kelly. And
Yeah.
and I see this in my practice. There are people who their illness becomes their identity,
Yes.
their method of control. Okay.
Yes.
And it's the same in the spirit realm. It's we have free will, right? Alive or dead, we have free will. We can move on if we want to. We don't have to be trapped. We don't have to be stuck. It's their method of that pity, that control, that attention. That's my 2 cents.
Bless you.
Yeah, talking about people feeling things. Saturday, I had some friends come up from Virginia. She's a little sensitive, and I took them out, into Pickett's Charge, where that happened at. And she was like completely, we had to get her out of there. She was in tears and just talking that she could actually see in her mind's eye, I guess, or whatever, all these people laying out there. And it shook her enough for like a good hour, probably. We had to like completely get off the battlefield and go walk in some t-shirt shops. And finally she's like, yeah, I'm better. But yeah, it was like she felt that. And, some people, but no, she felt it. I'd never been around somebody to just get hit that quick emotionally and had never been there. And she was saying things about certain areas that she would have never known. I mean, unless she had been there before, and so I think that some of them are scared to go. They're afraid of what they're going to have to face. Maybe.
I think that also.
Yeah.
No.
I think that they are afraid of what maybe the other side or what is further on. You know what I'm saying? That's scarier, as scary to them as anything else. With where do we go? What do we do? What's going to happen?
Even with that cemetery that I don't like sometimes. Like when I drive by it, I don't like it. Like it gives me the like I don't belong there. Like even just walking down the road there, it's too much power, So other cemeteries, I feel like, oh, I'm welcome, pull up a drink, grab some popcorn, sit and, let's chat. But, there's other people that just, oh, this is great. There's no big deal, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that also the law of attraction, as we all know, would work with us while we're still alive, also when we pass away. So it's really like, kind of touching what you guys were talking about earlier. I mean, I feel the law of attraction kind of works its way there as well, like even after we pass away.
I agree.
So,
yeah, I think part of that too is residual.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is residual energy. Frank and I have investigated with an individual who very susceptible to residual energy, to the point of having to remove him from investigations on 2 or 3 instances, just to allow him to ground again.
Yeah,
2 or 3.
Been there.
All right, I was being And some of them were strong places. Some of them were like Penhurst, and others not. Yeah, the Jenny Wade house. And then others weren't what I would consider strong residual.
Miss Kitties.
But he's just susceptible to it. I forgot about that one.
Chris, from your network, United for the Unknown, talking about extraterrestrials, Bigfoot, and the paranormal. What does everyone think about all the encounters being related or all part of the same beings in different forms? Or can all of this be our brain's way of interacting with the unknown? Getting deep.
Yeah.
To me,
I wanted to get
I mean,
want to get you guys' thought on that as well. I mean, because that was the first question I thought when you told us to ask a question. So,
I mean, there are so many life forms as aliens, extraterrestrials, whatever the case may be, out there. I mean, there are some that are just checking us out, watching over us and, figuring out, should we help or should we, just basically shut them up kind of thing. So it's a lot, but, they're maybe trying to prep us, but they're trying to look at us, saying they're not ready. So all we can do is just come in and take a look and do our little scans if we have and go from there. So it all depends. They need to land.
Yeah, I agree. Tim, there's so many varieties of aliens.
He looks like he's picking. Never mind.
Anyway, I love that thing, and I need one of those. Yeah, I gotta get me one of them. Anyway, all my
What's against you
in the
for
other
room?
Yeah. So, but and I have found, again, I had alluded to this earlier, that in many alien hot or UFO hotspots, or what do they call them now? UAPs? I don't know. I can't.
I call them UFOs.
Yeah, me too.
It's another word to sweep
I'm
under
too
the
old to
rug.
learn a new term.
You rebel, you.
Anywho, but I also find that they tend to be higher in Bigfoot sightings as well. And I know with Rich and Angel, we went on a couple of Bigfoot hunts, but the one was a Bigfoot / UFO hunt. It was the most amazing investigation we've ever done. We were there 10 minutes and rocks are being thrown into the pond. And at first we were like trying to debunk it as beaver slaps. It's like, no, but then we actually saw one of the rocks hit.
Happy Valley.
We saw in that area, in the trees, what I call a shimmer. Okay. Mm-hmm. So if you think of like a Predator.
No, right? Okay.
And Predator, when he's cloaked, there's just that shimmer. I've seen that there, which was a big Bigfoot area. And I've seen it locally, which is supposedly a Bigfoot area. I've actually seen it in my backyard a couple of times.
Come and get you.
Probably. They can
Plus,
take me.
Just leave the pork chop in the fridge.
It smells the grill.
Yeah, right.
Plus, it was Wes Coleman sneaking in.
Plus the things we saw flying in the air and no zone.
Yeah.
I mean, we also got to remember the term paranormal means anything unexplainable. So I mean, if we can't explain things, then it's automatically paranormal. I think people forget that a whole lot. But I mean, does aliens, when they come in, I mean, what kind of energy are their aircraft putting out or whatever spacecraft's putting out? I mean, is that enough energy to pull, we use boxes and all this other stuff to create energy in a, room or something like that when we're trying to pull things. So, I mean, if a spacecraft is coming in out of outer space, you can imagine how much energy that they have on them.
Or even if it's an interdimensional being.
Exactly.
Portals. You got portals.
Yes.
Greg, seriously.
I agree with Andy. Like everything
One
falls
episode.
underneath
No.
that.
What?
I
Greg.
was gonna say, I think everything falls underneath that paranormal umbrella, but doesn't necessarily mean that one is related to the other. It's more like a big salad bowl. Sometimes your cucumber touches a tomato, but
Whoa, hey, it's a family show.
it's salad, buddy.
The old cucumber, the old home wrecker. There we go.
Cowbells and cucumbers.
You may be out there watching the stars and watching for something to fly across, but then you hear something in the woods. So I mean, your senses are already heightened. So can you experience something in some other aspect of the paranormal? Sure, because you're out there being open to it.
Fair.
Yeah.
I've just wondered,
But
Keith,
by
what it's
definition, anything that can't be
when a
explained
portal
is
starts and
paranormal.
opens.
That's a good, Andy. I think at the end of the day, that there's more to be said about those than what a lot of people are giving them credit for.
Yeah.
There has to be something where a lucid person, take a Chris or a Flip or yourself or anybody that says, look, I saw this creature on the hill. It's going down the slope. And then it just, and then, it was wide ass open. And then it just was gone. Now you think, okay, did he have too many or, smoking the good stuff? But no, here's a stand-up guy and says he saw it. Then it was right at this point and gone. And we talk about that. So I think we're going to find more and more that those type of high energy indexes have something to do with not only ghosts, spirits, but Sasquatches. And how don't we say that extraterrestrials or something else is not coming through that point? And they say that they just disappeared. The craft disappeared. What is a Bermuda Triangle? Is there a large portal there somewhere that they go into and then everything disappears? Aircraft and ships. So
there's a lot to unpack there, buddy. There's a lot
to
unpack there.
Yeah, and maybe the day's going to come that there has been a guy that flew through one that the time was 2 hours difference, and he was on a show. He flew through, and he said his normal time to fly from this place to this was so much time. But he looked at his clock and his mileage, and he says, "Look, here's what it was." And what else could it be? And they're saying, well, he had to have flown through some sort of. And he even said that he looked ahead and he was, line of sight and was like, "What the hell?" He prepared for it, and then he was in it, and then he came through it. And he landed and he says, "What the hell happened?" So, there could be one person that did experience it and came through and didn't, get stuck on the other side. So, portals to me is something that I continue to, research and talk to NASA. I live close to NASA. So I've talked to guys and they says, "Keith, I'm going to tell you what, there's more portals out there than what it gets talked about."
Of course.
Just telling you right now. And they open and close many times a day. So,
I mean, think of some of the UFO shows like in the early 80s and 90s. There was one that was so close of basically going down telling the truth. They were taken off the air because they were that close. I can't remember what it is, but you can find it on YouTube. Now, then you got, Skinwalkers and the other show, I can't remember what it is.
The Blind Frog.
Oh yeah.
Ranch.
So
Blind
I mean, there's
Frog Ranch.
a lot of things are coming out that even Skinwalker that they're coming in and going out quickly. That they're just sitting there over land and something's happening. Like physics wise, how do you explain something like that? So that can even relate to the Bigfoot. You see this, you get a throwing rock, you don't know.
I tried, Wes, but it was ignored.
Hard pass.
Okay, well that's a subject for a whole nother show for sure. Portals are fascinating. Everybody knows I get into thought about those. I had something that happened to me one time. I've got it documented with pictures and a recording of a sound. I won't go there either, but it was amazing.
It's available on iTunes for anyone who really wants
it
to.
actually is. You can get that, Keith Bailey, the weird, freaky sounds, and you'll be like, wow, no wonder Keith was so scared to death of that.
So I know we're a little bit over our time, but I do have one more question for everybody before we kind of wrap up.
Boxers.
And I'm going to start. What?
Boxers.
Oh, that wasn't the question.
Okay.
We'll save that for another show, though. We're going to circle back to that. What about your best piece of evidence, like an audio recording or something? I'm going to start with you, Flip, because that's where I'm going to start.
Oh, put me on the spot.
Well, yeah, because you have all the audio and all the audio and how it works.
Tons of audio stuff. I'd have to say, if for an audio piece, it would be Shanley Hotel. When I captured Sal's voice after he had passed in his apartment. I played that for a bunch of people that knew Sal, and everybody says that's Sal. It's not a whisper; it's a voice. It's his voice. I've had people tear up listening to it. I got a great ghost picture that I show people, that I took in a private case up in Connecticut. I don't have it posted anywhere on the internet, but if you see me out there somewhere, I'll show it to you and tell you the story.
I saw it. Hey, remember though that place down in Charlottesville where we got that little girl saying "doctor"?
Yeah,
that was
really great.
Yeah,
the kiss in Penhurst. Remember that, Flip?
Yes, I do remember that. That was good too. I mean, audio that could be a 12-hour show talking about all the audio clips, but that's probably my favorite was Sal. It hit me emotionally. The people like Ron Iacovetti was in the room with me, and he said he never saw me get emotional like that after because we did the immediate playback, and it was him.
Chris, what about you? Because for your channel, I mean, I'm sure you have a lot that you share. But
yeah, so the actually the most recent one, we'll go there since you were talking about Shanley. We were actually at Shanley filming for the documentary with Scare Network. This is like probably something you guys will see once it comes out. We were in the third floor, in the room to just the last room to the right of the steps, and we had a millimeter sitting up on the chair, and we literally had a interaction with what we believe was Oscar. It actually happened 3 times on camera. The millimeter was actually pushed over 3 times on camera. And we're like, maybe there's a possibility where, maybe it just fell. So we started using what the millimeter has to offer. So we started using the audio of the millimeter. We gave it different audio types to actually follow. We gave it different types of color on the actual LED lights to actually different patterns to actually follow. And it was a legitimate interaction. It was intelligent. It was interacting with us, and we were able to get full a full conversation with whatever was there, which was pretty interesting. Which we believe was Oscar's because it would only interact when we mentioned Oscar, which is pretty cool.
Frank, what about you?
It's hard to choose. There's some stuff that I got on EchoVox I'm not at liberty to share. Best EVP I've ever got was at Fort Mifflin. We were behind the officers' quarters. I was there with Tim Shaw, and we were filming something for Spike. And we're just kind of fucking around. We're on break. But I got the recorder running. And clear as day, you can hear it, "Get the fuck out." Cool. Crystal clear. Best EVP I've ever gotten in my life. Video-wise, a couple of them. There's one at Fort Mifflin where we've got the laser grid set up, right? We got it right by the door, right? Got the camera right behind it. And all you can see is this shadow, this huge ass shadow go right across. That was pretty cool. and it was a private investigation. It was actually one of the first Team Spectre investigations that we got this ghostly body just walking through the attic. It's so cool. I got to dig that picture out again. I haven't seen that one in a while.
Wow.
That
cool.
was like one of the best pictures.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow. Tim, did you get anything when we were at Wilson Castle? When we were in the that circular column or the, what did they call it? The prayer room or there in the tower?
Yeah, I don't think I got anything. I heard some mumbles, but that was really it, and I just let it be.
I didn't know if we caught anything because I know we were hearing things and seeing some things, but I didn't know if we caught anything.
Yeah, I don't think recording was not the best for some reason. But I've gotten, a hard get out, the church I go to all the time, that sounds so deathly to the point, your spine, cribbles when you hear silence and next thing you hear, get out. Okay. But, you're 2 rooms away and you don't even hear it. So it's like, okay. But I've never got any video, more audio or visual, just, looking around.
Well, I have one to share, and then everybody, we have went for a while though, but this is something from the personal with me. I guess many of you know that I lost my twin brother to cancer in 2017. And sadly, that was one of the hardest things I've ever been through in my entire life. But the last week I had the honor of getting to spend that with my brother, as we knew time was getting near. And we got to talk about a lot of things in life growing up. We laughed, we cried, we hugged, but he knew that I was in the paranormal. And one of the things he said was, well, I guess you're gonna ask to get a hold of me when I'm gone. I says, well, do you mind? He goes, no. I said, so, I'm sure Dad's going to be the one to be there and meet you. And he says, well, I hope so. But he laughed and he says, well, I guess you're going to get a hold of me on that telephone. He called like the box, a telephone, like, hey, are you there? Hello, it's your brother. So that was cool. And that was fine. Well, that was Monday. Well, that Sunday he passed. So it was hard for many days, but by that Thursday or so, I said, I think it's time. I want to try to reach out to him just for myself to feel like he's there and it's okay. So it wasn't long at all. I was able to go and I said, can you please see if somebody can find my brother? His name is Kevin Bailey. And a female spirit said, I will. And it wasn't long after that, I hear, Keith. I said, Kevin, it's your brother. I was just, it was his voice. It was him. He goes, Keith. I go, Kevin, it's your brother. And he goes, I know. And I said I was going to get a hold of you. And he laughed. He giggled. He goes, I know. On that telephone. So he told me what he said before he passed, and then he told me after he had passed, and it was the same things. So needless to say, I had a very emotional moment at that, but it's amazing to get to talk to him and find out about how beautiful things are there. My mom comes through, my dad comes through, and it's just like, how is it there? And you just hear, it's beautiful. And just to hear in the family, who's there? He's here. What about Uncle Gary? He's here. And it's just, it makes you think that after we leave this life, that all of these experiences that we have, we can only hope to get to communicate with our loved ones once we're gone. And that's what we can hope for.
And if I go before all of you, you're going to find glitter everywhere.
I already do.
Everywhere.
It's all glittery.
That's pretty funny.
In your vehicles. Yeah. In
Yeah.
your
Kelly,
socks,
I live with
shoes.
Bella. There's glitter everywhere.
I know. See, it's like mine's. Aw, thank you guys and girls so much for joining us tonight and coming on. And thanks for hanging out, even though we went a little over. But with everybody and all those stories, we wouldn't have enough time. So thank you very, very, very much for sharing everything. And we are very appreciative that you could come on and share.
There's not anyone here that we don't love so much. And I'll tell you, we're so blessed to get to have the family that we have in the paranormal, and how I look at each of you and think, I remember that time. I remember that time. And just, and looking forward to the events coming up, we get to go hang out. And some of you I have investigated with, and some of I haven't. But the ones I haven't, I look forward to. And the ones I have, I'm ready to do it again, because it was fun then. I'm ready to do it.
Is hanging on by a thread over there.
Yeah.
This looks like he's
You guys are troopers, yeah.
work last night, buddy.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
But
I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you guys for having us on. I mean, it was a pleasure.
Absolutely.
It was, always great to be a part of your show. So definitely,
Chris, it means the world to us. It really does. More than you think it does. To have these people on the show. You look, and from legends to just everybody, future legends, and wow, it's just
that's awesome.
I'll probably cry later. I won't now. But it makes me
feel cry and make the
I'm a crier. I will. For the people I've lost in my life, and to know that you guys, that you guys are like family to me, it means a lot.
Yeah.
Because I've lost a lot.
Yeah.
So you guys have taken that space, and there you go. So thank you so much. It means a lot to me.
And we're going to end right from this screen. And everybody, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back in 2 more weeks. And if you think of other scary stories that you might want to share for the next one, let us know. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you.